man.
1,000 likes on this interview, we'll do a $5 Chick-fil-A gift card giveaway. 1,000 likes, we're giving a Chick-fil-A. We're doing a Chick-fil-A giveaway, man.
1,000 likes. Hey, no. 1,000 likes on one of our TikToks.
$15.
$20.
Oh, $20. A
$20.
crisp $20 bill for 1,000 likes. We're doing a freaking giveaway.
And welcome back to episode 10.
No.
It's almost a special episode.
Almost
episode 9. 412 press coverage. More in the building. Man, we got some topics for you today. First off on the list, we're going to go talk about the good old playoffs. Heartbreakers this week in the divisional rounds. Bad quarterbacks, good quarterbacks, all that good stuff. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to pass the mic off to Mario. Let's start off with.
You want to start off with the Giants? Giants?
Should we go in order?
It's up to you, man. If you want to start with the Giants,
I guess we can start off. With the New York Giants. As you can see, we did not do the special episode in Philly. I decided to sit this one out and not go to Philly. I was on my way, and I turned right back around. No need, $450 tickets just to watch this get slaughtered. I probably would have jumped off a bridge or something. So it's all good. So the Giants versus the Eagles was obviously a heavily anticipated game for me. I'll let you take your thoughts, Mario, because it's probably going to be a lot shorter than my thoughts on this one.
Yeah, on the Giants and Philly.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm just surprised that it was so lopsided. I mean, I didn't think the Giants were going to win. I know coming into the game, not a lot of people had picked the Giants, but a surprising amount of people I've seen were picking the Giants to win. And I kind of didn't expect that because I realized that even though the Eagles may have struggled without Jalen Hurts and Jalen Hurts' health might have been in question, that the Giants also struggled at the end of the season. They started 6-1 and they finished 3-6-1 or whatever their record was then. Like, they didn't necessarily come to the playoffs too hot. Yeah, man. I mean, the Eagles it was 21-0 before you knew it. The Eagles had scored back-to-back touchdowns on the first two drives, and the Giants couldn't score. And yeah, 38-7 is a tough score, and I'm sorry it was that lopsided. I'm sorry they didn't give you a good game, but the Eagles, we talked about it. They're obviously one of the best teams in the whole NFL. They might go to the Super Bowl. They might win the Super Bowl. So, I mean, if you're the Giants, I don't think there's really anything to hang your head on. I mean, you could have played a little bit better. It's not like the Giants didn't play up to their full potential, right? Like, it's not like the Eagles are actually 31 points better than them. But, they won a playoff game. They made it to the playoffs.
They might be. They fucking might be. The way they whooped our ass all season, they might be 31 points better than us.
Well, yeah, man. But, it happens. Shout out to the Eagles. I mean, they really made it look easy. I mean, offensively, defensively, they were getting pressure on Daniel Jones all night. So that's my take on it. But you tell me how you feel.
I'll hang my head high. To be totally honest, it's a lot further than I thought we were going to get this season.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad. That we lost. I'm mad how we lost.
Yeah.
I think it was disrespectful.
Yeah.
Just like to the Giants organization, to the Giants fans, to go to the playoffs and lose like that. We were looking forward to this, being in the playoffs. We thought 100% that we had a chance against the Eagles, our divisional rival, and we went there and got our asses kicked, to say the least. Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
As much as I want to give him credit, I can't. I don't think he's the problem, but I don't think he's the guy for us. Everybody can say what they want, but I've never been a Daniel Jones fan since we drafted him. I've never been a fan of him. I probably never will be a fan of him unless he wins the Super Bowl. But he is not. There's better quarterbacks out there than a mid top 20 at best quarterback. There's a lot better options out there. I mean, I would take Kirk Cousins right now over Daniel Jones. It's just there's a lot of things that he didn't do in that game. And at the end of the day, it's all about the shining lights on you and how you can perform. Lamar Jackson didn't get a contract this year. The number one thing I think the Giants should be doing is trying to recruit a guy like him who adds explosiveness to your offense, who adds a weapon to your offense, what makes it different, makes defenses playing different around you. It's going to change the offense completely around. I mean, Lamar Jackson's used to not having any weapons to throw to anyway. So him coming to New York, he'll fit right in.
Yeah. Well, it's tough because Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are a free agent.
I don't think they'll let Saquon go.
So what begs the
Only
question
reason I
though?
say that is because
Yeah.
who's going to take up Saquon's spot? Like, I mean, we have Matt Breida, yes, but Matt
Yeah.
Breida is not Saquon, and everyone knows that.
Well,
The NFL knows that. The Giants know that. We don't have a guy to replace Saquon Barkley, and that's the problem.
Saquon Barkley, yeah, was the 4th overall pick in the draft, and arguably at the time probably should have been the 1st overall pick if you think about it. But him and Daniel, and what I mean, the thing is like if Lamar Jackson didn't get a contract, Daniel Jones surely doesn't deserve one. I mean, just
And I
based
mean,
off of, I mean, he's had one good
that's a
year.
fact.
His
That's a
best,
fact.
well, his best year was this year, and they were 9-7-1. And the thing is like the
And was it
well,
really a good year though, or was it
well,
just a good year for him?
the question would be, well, first of all, their head coach Brian Daboll. I mean, people are saying that he's like a QB whisperer because of what he's done with Josh Allen and what he's now done with Daniel Jones in the one season he's been with him. But the thing is like
What
with the
did
Giants,
the like? I hate. You know,
the
I'm sorry to
Giants
cut you off. I
won. They
just
won.
hate it.
They won this season,
Yeah,
and they started out well. I mean, that's better than what
I
anybody's done in the previous
but
3
I
years.
hate the fact that we're given credit for being super mediocre. Like we were 9-7-1.
But
We
you
didn't
guys
blow no
have
one
been
out.
way worse in years past,
Yeah,
so you
we've
kind of
been
have to take
worse.
building steps. That's
We've
the
been
point.
worse. But if you're a team who's picking top 5 4 years in a row, eventually you should be good. We weren't like the thing that I think the craziest thing, the craziest stat is the fact like we shouldn't be looking at our ending. Oh, we made the playoffs. We were 6-0. You know how many teams missed the
6-1,
playoffs? You know how many teams were
but still,
six
that's
and one
very
beginning of
good.
the season and missed
Yeah,
the playoffs?
yeah,
Like I think it was like 3 in like the
yeah,
whole entire history. We
yeah.
were 6-1. We should have made the playoffs. Yeah, we were fighting at the end to even make the playoffs
So you're
because
saying in So I'm saying in perspective of the past, 9-7-1 isn't bad, but you're
yeah,
saying
that's cool.
in
But
perspective of the fact you guys were 7-1 looks. Yeah,
everyone's celebrating us being super mediocre, and it's like,
yeah,
oh, it's a pass, it's good. It's not
yeah.
good. And I don't. If it's my team, one, we have a mediocre quarterback right now. You're gonna go pay this guy, I don't know how much money that he does not
Yeah.
deserve.
Well,
I'm gonna just put it like that.
teams. I mean, bro, teams are desperate, and that's the problem with it. Is like I feel like the Giants.
Desperate for
Do you
what?
think that they're
There's
desperate to
always
have? They're
quarterbacks in the
desperate.
draft.
Well, I'm saying that they're desperate to have some type of quarterback play, and I think if the Giants think that I mean, did you hear what the general manager said? He said in a press conference that they were going to sign Daniel Jones and that he's done everything they asked of him, and so I'm saying they're
We
desperate
have
to
the
have it.
worst GM in the world.
They're
I'm gonna just put it like
I'm
that.
just saying he is the general manager though, correct? He
He
has
shouldn't
the
have been.
power. He
He shouldn't
currently
have been.
right now has the power to resign or not resign Daniel Jones.
I mean, I get it.
I
He
don't think
played
they
an
should
okay
sign him either.
season.
I don't think you should sign if there could be a way. Like it's too bad that Barkley and Jones are both free agents because then if Barkley wasn't a free agent, then you could just franchise tag Daniel Jones, sign him to the franchise tender, the 1 year deal, and then come to a conclusion next season. But it's kind of seems like the Giants are going to have to come to a decision now and really, to a very important decision that could decide their future. Do they go and draft another quarterback? Do they try to sign somebody else? Like,
I'll put it like this. Um, Out of every quarterback from the divisional round, so you got Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, or you could say Justin Fields,
yeah,
Josh Allen, Joe Shiesty, Patrick Mahomes, and Trevor Lawrence. Who would you put Daniel Jones above out of those playoff quarterbacks?
None of them. Which is kind of
He is the
it's kind of crazy.
he is the worst playoff quarterback this year.
It's kind of crazy that Giants even won 9 games though, because if you like you mentioned, Daniel Jones isn't a top tier quarterback. I mean, you do have to cut him some slack considering like the wide receiver weapons that he has. You have to cut him some.
I mean,
you have
like I said, it's definitely a lot more than I expected.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, like I said, is there's so many quarterback options coming. Lamar Jackson, I think, would be so nice to have.
It would be nice, but will it happen? That's the question. Like, who's to say the Ravens are gonna let him go? Maybe they'll franchise tag him in there.
I don't know if Lamar wants to play for the Ravens, but I guess that's a conversation for a different day. Even if you look at the whole playoffs in general,
other than like Skylar Thompson,
the only person you say that he is honestly better than, Skylar Thompson and Geno Smith out of the whole playoff bracket. Tyler Huntley not included because he doesn't start.
Do you think Daniel Jones is better than Geno Smith?
Yeah.
Geno Smith threw for the most yards in Seattle Seahawks franchise history this season. Had a really good year.
Listen, he's Geno Smith.
Right, well, I'm not going to debate Geno Smith versus Daniel Jones on this show, but I mean,
either way, he's bad.
Yeah,
but
we're not doing.
In all reality, like he wasn't better than anybody in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and he threw 300 yards against the worst defense in the league. I think they were ranked like 30th.
The Minnesota Vikings had a pretty terrible. I mean, the way it's just. The way I kind of look at it is like you guys went up against the worst defense and then one of the best defenses, and it's like against the Eagles there really wasn't much like at all. Whereas when you know what I'm saying, if you guys really had this unbelievable tremendous offense that it looked like against the Vikings, then you guys probably could have at least 38-7 is like that's
just like
terrible.
You said last week. It's basically if we would have did everything that we would have did against the Minnesota Vikings, we'd have had a fighting chance.
Yes,
but instead we got our heads stumped in. And we had a quarterback that looked like it was his first year again. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is when it comes to that is, yes, we made the playoffs, but I don't want to just make the playoffs. We had an actual chance with the way our bracket was looking up. Yeah. I don't care if we win the Super Bowl. We had a chance to actually go. Like, that's just the way I look at it. If we had to beat the Eagles, we'd had an actual fighting chance to go to the Super Bowl. And instead, we're celebrating because we got knocked out the divisional round. By 30-1 points. Like that's
and a recurring theme that you see throughout the NFL in any week, and that we'll talk about in some of the other games, is like when you're clearly the not as talented team, the margin for error is much lower. You can't afford to make simple mistakes, and you can't afford to miss on deep shots and stuff like that. So, against the Vikings, when they might not be as good, you can afford to miss some of those chunk plays or make whatever mistakes. But when you're playing against the Eagles, the best team in the league, and you're the Giants and you guys have clearly struggled, like he threw an interception, you can't do that. Like it's just stuff like that. Missed tackles, being beat over the top. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Margin for error is so small.
Dumb. The fact that he had 4 bad years and we're going to decide to sign him.
Yeah, I wouldn't sign
him. How many more years are you going to sign him?
Well, and they didn't pick up his
one good year.
They didn't pick up his 5th year option. If they really had that much faith in him, they'd pick up his 5th year option. No doubt. I mean,
I don't think, like I said, it depends on what contract they're offering him. I don't think he's a $20 million a year guy. Shit, I don't think he's a $15 million a year guy. Like he's like.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what he would get on the open market, though.
That's what I would let him go. Go ahead and try the open market. Yeah. Who's playoff team wise? Who's offering him a contract?
Oh, none, because none of the playoff teams. Most of the playoff teams were in the playoffs for a reason because they have a good quarterback.
So who's like even non-playoff teams? Texans.
Honestly, bro, I don't know, and I think you bring up a valid point that I don't think. I mean, I don't know where else he'd play where he'd be able to have maybe some type of career resurgence. I don't know where that
nowhere.
Would be. Yeah,
but the Giants are so willing to sign him for no reason. Like it's so stupid, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I'm gonna move on to the next game because I just feel like it's so stupid. We're going to make a huge mistake by signing him to a long. If we sign him to a long term contract, the biggest mistake the Giants ever made, right there.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be so stupid. Next one, we can go to my personal favorite game of the divisional round, the Jags versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Shout out to the Jags because no one expected them to beat the Chargers, and no one expected that Kansas City game to be even close.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Jags on that note.
Yeah, man. The Jags, they're going to Trevor Lawrence. He came out of nowhere. Well, he didn't come out of nowhere, but he really had a fine season, and he really rose the ranks as the year went on. And yeah, man. I mean, I know Patrick Mahomes got hurt, a pretty bad injury it looked like, and he was obviously affected by it as the game went on. But man, the Chiefs are good, bro. I,
They are good. They are
yeah,
definitely
I didn't get
good.
to catch the first half, but I heard of Chad Henne led them on a 98-yard drive, man. So Travis Kelce had 98. Travis
He sure did. It was a 98 down
Travis
the
Kelce
field.
had 14 catches, man. The Chiefs are good. They're tough. Offensively, it doesn't matter who they put out there on the field. They're making plays. They're making catches. Dudes are wide open. Patrick Mahomes has what feels like forever in the and yeah, man. I mean, the Jags, like we said, had a valiant effort. It was I mean, bro, what was the score? 27-17. And if it weren't for a fumble at the 4-yard line, that it might have been even more interesting than that. Um, like you said, man, shout out to
It was 27-7 or 27-20 into the game.
oh, that was the final score?
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. So
That fumble, there was a fumble at the end of the
when it
game
was
that on the
27
4-yard
when it
line.
was 27-17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was but
then they
that
kicked the field
they
goal,
kicked the field goal after that with 30 seconds
and then
left.
they, and then
Yeah.
he threw an interception.
But I'm saying like and that's what we go back to what I was talking about for the last game, right? Margin for error is so small. If the Chiefs had a fumble at the 4-yard line or Mahomes threw an interception, you can get past that. That's okay. It's not that big of a deal. But whenever you're the less talented team and you're on the road, like stuff like that will truly cost you the game. And when it was 20-7, when it was 17-27, if they score a touchdown there, you never really know. But that's still, I mean, it makes it closer than anyone would have thought anyway. And it's just unfortunate. Like
So
I remember when I was watching it, and I was like, man, Trevor Lawrence is really playing his heart out. And then he fumbled that ball, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like what a sad way to go out.
yeah, like it was a really good game. And the biggest thing for me is that Trevor Lawrence, man, he's a talent. He's always been a talent since
Yeah.
we watched him play in the national championship game. I mean, he's a true
He
quarterback.
started as a true freshman, bro. I don't think people realize how little people
He's a
like all the
true
top
winner.
quarterbacks that come out of the draft, like they sit when their freshman year and then play after. He started all 3 years in college. Like, yeah, he's a winner.
That guy is a true winner at heart, and he's a
Yeah.
true quarterback at heart. And I mean, as much as I'd love to see him advance, it's not worth it because it's not like they're winning the Super Bowl. But I think he has a bright future
Yeah.
if the Jags, if the Jags play it right. He can be it. He goes to a team,
Got a good coach.
hypothetically. He goes to a team like Buffalo, you know, not saying he's better than Josh Allen, but he goes to a team like Buffalo, I think he can go far. Just like if he had a better team. The Jags don't have that team around him yet
They're young. They'll get
for
better
them
as
to,
time.
yeah,
They'll get better. I mean, they got ETN's
exactly.
a young guy. Evan Ingram's still pretty young. I think most of their wide receivers are young. Their defense, they
Yeah.
got Josh Allen on the defense, Trayvon Walker. So they're a young up and coming team. And man, the AFC, we're loaded with quarterback, man.
Yeah, the AFC
We're
got
loaded.
some
We're
the
loaded over
AFC
here.
definitely got some talent. And I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing. But yeah, that game it ended crazy. He
Yeah.
made that mistake. He made that interception. I mean, he was fighting back into the game, but he made that. He threw that interception,
Mm-hmm.
and it was costly.
Yeah, man. As when you turn the ball over and you make mistakes, self-inflicted wounds, as we'll learn from another game we'll talk about. I mean, you, especially in that type of under those circumstances, yeah, your chances to win go from small chance to no chance, and you just can't.
Yeah, we'll
You
save
just
that other NFC game for last.
yeah.
Next, we got the Bengals and the Bills, which I really don't feel like it was a close game the whole
No.
game. I feel like they kept it. The Bengals kept it at a distance,
Yeah.
and I honestly, Eli Apple, his tweets been rubbing me the wrong way. I
Yeah,
hope they get their heads smacked off the ground
yeah.
what is their game on Sunday or Saturday?
Sunday, they championships
Yeah,
are on Sunday, but
hope they get their heads smacked off the ground. He rubbed me the wrong way the whole week.
yeah,
I'm reading his tweets and I'm just like, this guy's annoying. One, when he played for the Giants, he was burnt toast. Two, when he played for the Saints, he was burnt toast. Now he gets to the Bengals and suddenly good. He's not good. He's just surrounded by really good players. He was never, and anyone can argue with me about this. He was strictly burnt toast for the Giants, for the Saints, and he thought I'll never forget when he got traded. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, I'm finally like he." Not I think he tweeted it, and someone else like tweeted for him. Was like, "Oh yeah, my nephew, he's finally out of the Giants organization. Yada yada yada. He's gonna do good." He gets to the Saints and he was burnt toast. And then he gets to the Bengals and he's okay. He's not even good. And then now this year he's good. He's not good. He let off what? What did he let off against Cooper Cup in the Super Bowl?
I don't remember, bro. I don't.
It
But
was a game,
yeah.
a historic game, Super Bowl MVP on his head.
Well, Cooper Cup
All I'm gonna say.
was yeah. Well, I mean, Cooper
I
Cup
mean, yeah,
was historically great wide receiver
but
last
still,
season.
if you can't the way he talks, it's kind of like how Pat Bev talks. It's just like he was taking it too far, and I really didn't like just the way he is, the way he was talking. Like he's not even
Yeah,
nowhere remotely close to a top
it's like
40
it's like it's like
cornerback in the
Dylan
league
Brooks.
to
It's like
to
Dylan
be the way
Brooks in
he's
the
talking.
way he whenever like you haven't
Yeah,
done anything, you haven't earned the right and respect to talk the way I understand. But I mean, yeah, Eli Apple aside, that's the type of stuff that I don't like from teams is whenever you're cocky. Like I like Joe Burrow because I don't think he's
yeah. I was rooting
cocky.
for Joe Burrow, and now I'm
But
like,
like when I
I
see
don't want this
players
guy to
like
win.
that, like that just makes you more. And I know NFL players like to run with, we like being most hated, like we like. But at the end of the day, you're just arrogant. And like you said, Eli Apple. I mean, come on, bro. I
Garbage,
mean, yeah. I mean,
burnt
he's
toast.
clearly he's good enough to be a starter and to actually play in the NFL and be on a team for more than 5 years. I think. I mean, he has to be kind of good. But at the end of the day, yeah, like you're right. But let's not let
Not a
Eli,
top 40.
let's not let Eli Apple take away from the real story of the game, man, and how good Joe Shiesty looked and how good the Bengals offense. And I mean, you're correct. They just totally controlled the game from the jump, from the start. The Bills really never were. There was a brief moment where it was 17-10, and the Bills had the ball and had a chance to go down and score, but the Bengals locked them up, especially defensively. I'm sure, like on the broadcast, they were saying like the Bengals really dominated in the trenches. Joe Burrow really got the ball out quick, and I mean, he wasn't under much duress the whole game, and the Bengals defensive line was getting to Josh Allen, and I just think, yeah, I mean, Joe Burrow looked really good. He orchestrated the offense very well. The Bengals clearly had a plan, and yeah, I think there was never a moment where the Bengals didn't completely control the game on both sides of the
Yeah,
ball. And
they controlled it that whole game.
even though Buffalo had an opportunity to come back and tie 17-10, it still was kind of like the Bengals are in control here. They're not going to let this one slip. And I mean, yes, I mean 27-10, and it truly felt like worse than that. Like it felt like it was almost like 38-7, like the score of the Giants and Eagles game. Like it was really a smackdown. And for Buffalo Bills offense with Josh Allen and to only score 10 points at home, that's I mean, especially against the Bengals defense, like we said, like the Bengals obviously have a good defense, but they're not like the Eagles or the 49ers, like one of those top tier defenses in the NFL. But I mean, clearly, I mean, yeah, like they gave up 17 points, potentially could have been 24 points to Tyler Huntley and the Ravens. And then you go up and hold Josh Allen to 10 points on the road. Like, I don't know, man. I
I
mean,
think that's the
The
biggest
Bengals
part
are real,
about it.
Joe. Bengals are the real
It
deal.
was on the road too, and I think that's a stat that we don't really talk about much. Going into another person's arena and completely, you know, tearing them apart
Yeah.
is an understatement. I mean,
Yeah.
the Bills held him to 10 points. Obviously, got Stephon Diggs out the game. I feel like he wasn't him, and Josh Allen just really he didn't look like Josh Allen. Maybe we do overhype Josh Allen a little bit. I mean, maybe a little bit. I think he's a good quarterback, but obviously, I think we should put Joe Burrow over Josh Allen after that game. I mean, just in general, he went to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
That enough should have been, the bump. But everyone was, Josh Allen favorite this year, and I don't think he really earned to be a favorite this season because he came in and he underperformed.
Yeah. I mean, I've never even really been that big of a Josh Allen. Like I feel like he turns the ball over so much, and he and Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis and whatnot, they're able to connect on those bombs and those deep throws. But I feel like
It's the offense he runs though too. You do have to look at the offense. It's kind of like the offense Eli ran when he was first brought into the league. The offense he runs relies on very big splashy plays.
but
That's just the offense that they run. They don't run,
but
West Coast
I'm
offense where they
saying.
just boom.
I'm saying that they partially part of the reason why they hit on all those shots is because they take so many. Like Josh Allen throws down the field a lot, and he even missed Stephon Diggs on one that could have been. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
when you do something more and more often, like you're gonna get good results. Like you're bound to get good results. If you do it so and so much. So I mean, yeah, Josh. Even when he played against the Steelers and the Piddly Steelers, that was one of the few Buffalo games I watched. I mean, he still threw 2 interceptions. Like he threw 2 interceptions against Miami. And did he have any interceptions against the Bengals? Let me check and see if they got any interceptions off him. But still, he just like missed throws and
Yeah.
like we said, man, like 25 for 42, 265, long of 32. Like he has long chunk plays, but at the end of the day, like 265 yards on 42 attempts, that's like, I mean, that's like those aren't even good numbers. So yeah, I'm not impressed with Josh Allen. I never really have been. I mean, people were saying this morning on Get Up that he's just like a Philip Rivers, like good numbers, gets to the playoffs, but is really never going to win anything. And I mean,
I think he's on a better team than Philip Rivers was, talent wise, and I think he
well, I
can
mean,
do more with that
when
team.
Philip Rivers, yeah, earlier in Philip Rivers' careers, I mean, that's before me. I'm not even going to speak on it, but I mean, yeah, man, it's just like last year they beat the Chiefs this season. And last year they were so close to beating the Chiefs, and the year before that they lost in the championship. So it's kind of like crazy how they kind of went out this sad. But then again, Josh Allen was hurt, right? He injured his shoulder. I think it was around midway through the season. So who knows how that could have affected him? Who knows how that could have impacted his play overall? But I mean, yeah, man, just I think the Bengals are just really, really good, and I don't think people realize how good the Bengals are.
I mean, no, you look at top three quarterbacks in the league, you think Burrow,
Joe Burrow's up there.
Mahomes, and Allen.
Yeah.
But I think if we go in a record in a row, we're going to go Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and that's just how I think it should be for now. Um, if Joe Burrow goes out and he beats Kansas City this weekend for the second year in a row and goes to the Super Bowl,
No, you can't. No.
I'm just saying maybe we're hyping up Mahomes a little too much. Yes, I understand he has amazing numbers.
MVP, threw 50 touchdowns,
He's my
won a Super
fantasy
Bowl,
quarterback every
been to
year.
2 Super Bowls, hosted the AFC Championship game 5 years in a row.
Okay,
Don't let the recency bias. Don't let the
do you
recency
know
bias
that
fool you,
the,
bro.
do you know that the San Francisco 49ers have been to three of the last four championship games?
Yeah.
What does that even like? That doesn't mean nothing.
It
Like that
absolutely means
means nothing.
something. Oh,
I
are
mean, it
you
means something, but
what?
if you're not winning rings, it doesn't mean
He
nothing.
won a
If he
ring.
doesn't win a ring,
He won a ring.
1 out of 5. If he wins 1 out of 5,
First of all, the fifth one hasn't even been played yet, so technically it's 1 out of 4.
that's what I'm saying though.
But he's
We're
won
speaking
one ring and he's
hypotheticals.
been to another
We're
one.
speaking
In the
hypotheticals.
game that he lost, it was because his offensive line, not hypothetically. I mean, you remember that game against the Bucks, right?
Yeah, I remember
He
the
was
game.
running for that's where the throw where he's sideways on the ground throwing the football and he still gets a pass off. Like don't
I
don't
just don't think like Burrow beats you 4 times in a row.
Well, and all
When are
yeah,
we going to start showing Burrow his
but
respect?
but is Patrick Mahomes play defense?
When are we going to show Burrow his respect? Is all I
I'm
ask.
putting him at the second best quarterback in the NFL. Is that not respect?
But if you beat the first best quarterback 4 times in a row,
Does
when do
Patrick
you get your
Mahomes
respect?
does Patrick Mahomes play defense?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't
So
play defense.
that is still a flawed argument. Like, yes, Joe Burrow might have beaten Patrick Mahomes 4 times in a row, but don't forget. Don't get lost in thinking about Joe. Joe Burrow is honestly, he's one of my favorite players in the NFL. You know how hard that is for me to say, considering he plays for the Bengals. Like, that's how good he is, and that's how much I like him as a player. But don't don't forget about who Patrick Mahomes is and who he will continue to be. For when Joe Burrow hosts 5 straight AFC Championship games in his first 6 seasons, which he cannot do mathematically, cannot do anymore. And whenever Joe Burrow
What he only missed his first season?
Patrick Mahomes didn't play his first season. Every season after that, the Chiefs have played a home AFC Championship game, bro.
What season is Burrow in? Fourth?
Third.
So
So,
he was hurt his first season,
correct.
and
Mahomes
every
didn't play
season
his first season.
after that, I'm saying Burrow was hurt his first season,
That's why I'm
and every
saying.
season after
Okay.
that, he went to the Super Bowl and
Oh
beat
my
Mahomes.
God, bro. It's a one. Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm
No,
just saying. If he wins this weekend,
I
we
s-
got to start talking about it.
no. I see what you're saying, but don't forget. Like,
I'm just
it's
saying.
not
I'm
about
just
Joe.
saying, man.
It's not about Joe Burrow as much as it's about Patrick Mahomes. It kind of feels like you're disrespecting Patrick Mahomes when you say that.
It's not disrespect.
It
Putting respect
absolutely
on
is
Burrow's
disrespect.
name
Yeah,
for beating Mahomes 4 times in a row
it's
is
definitely
the
disrespect.
respect.
No, it's definitely disrespect. But
All right, we're gonna move on to the last game of the divisional round. How about them Cowboys, man? I mean, my weekend was bad, but seeing them Cowboys lose always brings a smile to my face, and it always makes me happy at the end of the day. Um, Dak Prescott, you pay these guys all this money, and they just don't perform when you need them to perform. And I think that's my biggest fear with the Giants is paying a guy like Daniel Jones all this money, and then he just goes and underperforms every single game for the rest of his contract. Kind of like Dak Prescott has. Some will say Cooper Rush should have started that game yesterday.
shut up, Jesus.
I'm just saying, Cooper Rush, would he have thrown them 2 interceptions? Probably not.
No,
It was a
Dak
bad
played a
game.
bad game, but you can't give up on your guy like that. I mean, I know he clearly wasn't good down the stretch as the season went on, but come on, bro. Come on.
Cooper Rush lost one game. One game.
You're just like, this is like the most casual. Come on, dude.
I
We're
mean, I'm
supposed
just
to be
saying.
better.
I'm just
We're
saying.
supposed to
He
be
lost
better
one
than
game.
that. You're making
He
us lose
lost one game.
credibility. Come on, bro.
He lost one game.
Okay.
I think that like the biggest thing about that game is it was a poor game by Dak, and I think that is where we're getting to like almost a normal when it comes to spotlight on the Cowboys, bad games. Spotlight on Dak, bad game. And that's just becoming a very bad normal over there in Dallas. Honestly, I don't care about Dallas. I don't know what they're going to do about that issue, but I think it's a big issue. They're paying these guys a lot of money, and they can't make it past the divisional round. When was the last time Dallas made it to the NFC Championship game?
26 years ago, I think. Something like that. 28 years ago, maybe.
They can't make it past the divisional round, and I'm pretty sure they have the biggest, best stadium in the league. They're paying Dak Prescott all this money. They're paying Ezekiel Elliott, who was a backup down there for the majority of the season, all this money. Also, Pollard broke his leg. Feels super bad for that guy. He earned himself a starting spot on the Cowboys, on whatever team he was going to, but sadly he broke his leg. So, that's pray for him, road to recovery. But he definitely was the starter most of the season. I think we can all agree on that. He was a more explosive back, and he was the better back for most of the season. Yo, Yo, yo. Sorry, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. Just give us a little minute.
Hello, you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Anyway, like I was saying, yeah, you have to be some type of good to take over Ezekiel Elliott's, especially considering how much money Elliott's making. But yeah, man, I mean, that was the worst thing about it was that was a very winnable game for the Cowboys. The Cowboys very much had a chance to win that. Not only did Dak throw 2 interceptions, he threw a couple more that could have been intercepted. I know one he threw like basically right to
Oh
the
man,
linebacker that could have been
yeah,
dropped.
he
That was
threw some bad
that was dropped
passes.
by the linebacker. You know, he only threw for 205 yards. It's like I remember on the broadcast they were saying like it was I want to say it was 16-9 maybe, or I'm not sure if that was a score, but it was this Cowboys were losing by 9 points in the fourth quarter, and the announcer said, "All right, Dak, you know this is your chance. Like this is your chance to prove yourself, to prove the haters wrong." And the Cowboys went. They didn't get a touchdown. They didn't get a field goal on that drive. So I just think, you know, I mean, yeah, Dak wasn't good enough. And when you get paid that much money, whenever you kind of struggle down the stretch, and you have such a great game against the Buccaneers, like such a great game, and then you're unable to follow that up. Not only unable to follow it up, but you follow it up with that type of game, especially with all the expectations of how good the Cowboys are. And bro, like their defense played well enough to win. And the fact that 2 interceptions could especially one of the interceptions, the Cowboys looked like they were going to go down and score. They were close to scoring range. So it's just like it's a shame to see. I was pulling for the Cowboys, man. I was pulling for them because I just
Heard
I
him?
want I was pulling for them because I feel bad that they've been bad for so long, and I like Dak Prescott. He's a very likable guy, and I just it's the worst part is that it was a winnable game. That's the worst part about it, right? Like they
I
could
mean,
have won.
I think all the talk around Purdy, and Purdy didn't have a good game either.
I think
I
I
mean,
think I think
he
Purdy played
managed the
solid.
game.
I think Purdy
I
we
think he managed the game a good. He did the same thing Jimmy Garoppolo would have did that game. He managed it. He game managed it really good, but he did nothing super spectacular. He didn't
yeah.
throw. He didn't have a bad game or a good game. He didn't throw an interception. He didn't throw a touchdown. You know, he had a very mediocre, basic game. But at the end of the day, I think he led it to a better game manager type of game where he did what he had to do and then
Yeah.
let his team do the rest.
In terms of playing his role, he did way better than Dak Prescott did. In terms of
Way
just
better.
simply playing his role,
Way
and
better.
and
Yeah.
like you said, like I say that Purdy didn't play that bad. And what were we saying about him last week? We were saying he can't. He be able to win a close game where his team just isn't completely blowing the other team out of the water. I mean, he did that, 19-12. I mean, that's a pretty close score. It's not like it's not like they didn't win 30-12 or they didn't win by 20 points. I mean, it was a close game, and Purdy did what he needed to do to help them win, and he had some big throws. I know like George Kittle had like really nice catches, but Purdy had like big time throws to people that got them in positions to make the catches. And yeah, man, I mean, I thought I was impressed with Purdy. I was more impressed with him after that game than I was after the wild card game.
I mean, I beg to differ. I think it's a little different. Uh, like I said, I think he managed the game really good, but
Yeah.
it's kind of one of them things. Like, okay, they play the Eagles this weekend. Let's talk about that game now because honestly, the Cowboys versus 49ers game, I think it all just came down to Dak had a bad game.
Yeah.
Zeke did nothing. Pollard broke his leg. It was just all around bad game for the Cowboys, and it was like they lost. I mean,
We'll see what
but
happens.
we're kind of used to it by now.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
like, let's move on to the Purdy thing. They play the Eagles this weekend. The Philadelphia Eagles is who they play this weekend. Or they want to go out and win this game.
I would say no. And like I said before, I think Brock Purdy, like you kind of mentioned it, that Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo kind of play similar. I mentioned before that I think if Jimmy Garoppolo was their quarterback, I think that the Niners, I would pick them to win this game. But because it's Brock Purdy and because he's a rookie and because of the things that we said against like an incredible defense, where will he be able to make unscripted plays? Will he be able to make something out of nothing and move around, get out of the pocket, which he has done a little bit, a tiny, tiny bit. But will he be able to make the plays on his own, make them up as he goes against the Eagles defense, which is, I mean, the Cowboys have a good, like the Cowboys were a good test, but like we said, they didn't win by 20 plus points as they've been doing recently. They only won by 7 points.
Yeah, if anything, the Cowboys beat themselves.
And the
I don't think the
Eagles,
Eagles will beat themselves.
they have a great offense where they might not turn the ball over as much. Jalen Hurts has clearly been a better quarterback than Dak Prescott this season, so they'll have more of a challenge in terms of on the defense. But you got to remember, man, the Niners got a great defense. Now, will they hold
Yeah.
Philadelphia to 12 points? I mean, we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, I'll pick the Eagles simply because of the fact that Brock Purdy is the quarterback, and until he proves to us that he can truly like be the reason that your team wins, not that they win and you're a part of it and you play well, but be the reason. If the Niners want to win this weekend, I think he's going to have to be the reason. He's going to have to lead the 49ers to score 30 points on the road. And I
I can
mean,
agree with that.
we'll wait to see. Time will tell if that'll happen. We don't know.
I mean, I don't think they'll win this weekend. I hope they win this weekend because I don't want the Eagles to win. But I don't think they'll win this weekend. I think Brock Purdy is going to be the reason they don't win this weekend, to be totally honest with you. Like you said, though, if they do want to win this weekend, he has to play a perfect game, and he has to be the reason that they win.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, man, we'll see if that happens. Like we said, only time will tell. But so what's your score prediction?
For the Eagles versus 49ers, I'm going to go 28-17.
I'm gonna go. I'll go 27-20, and the Niners will have a chance at the end, but they won't. But the Eagles will get a stop, and I think the Eagles will ultimately go to the Super Bowl. So
Yeah. Over here on the Bengals, I mean, we touched up on it.
yeah,
Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes hurt. Burrow's healthy. Uh, Bengals have a better defense, I think, than the Chiefs.
yeah.
It's going to be close, but I'm going to go Bengals over Chiefs. 24-20.
Yeah, I'm gonna root for the Bengals because of my guy Joe Shiesty. But I
I
mean,
don't want
beat
the
the
Bengals to win.
Chiefs. I'm gonna root for the Bengals, but to beat the Chiefs 4 times in a row,
It's a hard feat.
I
I tell you
mean,
that.
to beat any team 4 times in a row. But then, like we said, to beat the Chiefs like 4 times in 2 seasons, and you think the Chiefs are gonna figure you out eventually. But then again, it depends on the game plan that the Bengals have offensively and how well they execute. The margin for error for the Bengals will be low if they play an absolutely perfect game. Say their full potential is 100%. If they play anywhere from 85 to 100% within that full potential, then I think the Bengals can win if they don't turn the ball over. If they can get stopped, like if they can come up with big time stops defensively, which is what they did last year in the AFC Championship game, then I think the Bengals will have a big chance. But I'm not going to pick them because, I mean, can't beat Patrick Mahomes 4 times in a row. I just don't see how it could ever happen.
And all in all, the Bengals, we can all agree, are the better team.
I would say
Overall, they are the
overall,
better
yes. Like
team.
if this game was in Cincinnati, I think the Bengals would be favored, but it's not. It's in Kansas City, and you have to take that, especially in the playoffs. Like you have to take that into effect.
Yeah. So, I got Bengals over Chiefs, and I got Eagles over Niners.
Yeah,
Next road to the Super Bowl,
it'll be a
gonna
good
be a good
weekend, man.
game.
I'm hoping for at the very least 2 close games, no blowouts, no stinkers where the game kind of like two games
Yeah, I
that
don't want to
that
watch another
end
Cowboys 49ers game.
2 games that end not just like low scoring, but 2 games that end on the final drives. Whereas like Cowboys 49ers, like you knew the Cowboys weren't scoring with 40 seconds left, no timeouts. Or when
Yeah,
Jacksonville versus Kansas City, like it was 17-27, like a field goal, they went to the onside kick, didn't get it. Like so, like I want 2 games where it ends on the final drive. It's close until the final minute of the game. Like I think that's what I'm really hoping for, and that's what I think we'll see.
that's what I'm hoping, man.
Championship football, man. There's
We're,
nothing like it.
we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up for you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and follow us on TikTok. Go ahead and check out our YouTube 412
Yeah.
press coverage.
Make sure
We're
y'all
coming up here in
yeah.
Pittsburgh,
Make sure
man.
make sure y'all get right in the comments, man. Like that's what we gotta get some chats going in the YouTube comments, man.
We
See what
gotta get
everybody
the chats
tell us what you
going.
had to say, man. Tell us about Brock Purdy, tell us about Jalen Hurts, man. Tell us about Danny Dimes, whatever.
I comment on every vid. If you disagree with what I'm saying, give me a comment. I love to argue in
Yeah.
the comments, man. You just Go ahead. I'm real active with the fans, real active with the followers. We're up and
Yeah.
coming here in Pittsburgh, and I think one day we're going to be the greatest podcast here in Pittsburgh, and that's what I'm
Hey
hoping to do,
man,
man.
1,000 likes on this interview, we'll do a $5 Chick-fil-A gift card giveaway. 1,000 likes, we're giving a Chick-fil-A. We're doing a Chick-fil-A giveaway, man.
1,000 likes. Hey, no. 1,000 likes on one of our TikToks.
$15. Oh,
$20.
$20. A
$20.
crisp $20 bill for 1,000 likes. We're doing a freaking giveaway. All you have to do is like, comment, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Follow J Rod on Instagram and TikTok, and you'll be submitted for the giveaway.
We're going to get it going here. We're for the people.
We're from the Berg. We're from the greatest city in the entire world, Pittsburgh, man. We're Pittsburgh proud, Pittsburgh tough. Here we go, Steelers. Let's go, Pens. We don't care about the Pirates. Kenny on top, Steelers on top, man. You already know what it is.